here's someone who's not sad and who makes me. Guys, give me a break. Here's someone who's not sad and makes me very happy. How's that? You good with that one? Maland, everyone.
Wow, that sounds like we're secret lovers or something. I didn't know we felt that way about each other, but it's the same. Man, I found out tonight that there's some people here from 7 News in the audience. This is true. Yeah. And it makes sense that like people from 7 News would want to come to a comedy show because we also just make shit up, you know what I mean? It's true. You know, there was a whole ABC Four Corners investigation into 7, and they said, you know, the culture was so bad it was driving them to like want to commit suicide and stuff like that. But I'm actually a manager at 7 News, and we're coming up with more creative ways to drive them to suicide. Like we're making them come to our comedy gigs. Oh man, Sydney's a crazy city, man. It's crazy. You could be out in Newtown. I was out in Newtown the other week. I saw a woman with blue hair pissing in the street. It was a homeless woman, and I found out it was an art installation. That's the inner west for you, you know what I mean? You know, you can get a pizza with no cheese on it and stuff like that. Go to Bondi, Little Britain I call Bondi. You know, you got the guys with the chiseled 6-pack abs, the 90-degree angle jawlines. You can probably tell from my jawline, I'm from Adelaide. I've got that inbred jawline, man. There's something in the tap water in Adelaide and it's no good, you know? But I think we evolved the Adelaide jawline as like a self-defense mechanism. Because it's like kind of hard to knock someone out if you don't know what chin to punch them. Oh, yeah. A lot of people have said to me, they're like, oh, Paul, like Adelaide's a wine region. Like, there's not much violence there. Well, let me just say, they don't call it box wine for nothing, kites, you know? It comes in a box and it makes you a box. That's the truth. You know, 1 second I'm out with my dad enjoying dinner with a wine, and then, you know, half an hour later I'm giving her an uppercut because we can't agree if it's a Pinot Gris or something else, you know what I mean? There's going to be like Pinot Grieving and that thing, I tell you. Man, but I have learned that, you know, I'm not fighting my nan that much anymore, but I have learned that I do struggle to communicate sometimes. I was talking to my therapist about this, and I was saying, I realise that the more often in conversation that I say 100%, the less I actually agree with what you're saying. Just like, I had a friend that was telling me a story the other day, and the first time I said 100%, I was fully there, I was with him, I was listening, you know what I mean? But the second time I said 100%, I was actually probably down to like 50% agreement, you know? And the third time I said 100%, I was starting to trail off. And then, but if I ever drop that's crazy, I'll stop listening to what you were saying minutes ago, you know? And I was telling my therapist this because I was like, I worry that it's getting in the way of me actually progressing my relationships with people. And she was like, 100%, that's crazy. Almost got that bitch to take out her AirPods, you know? I said to her, she was wearing something that looks like headphones or something like that. I don't know if they're AirPods or what they were. I said, I think I get a lot better, you know, treatment if I came here to talk to you and you weren't wearing headphones. And she was like, if you're not going to order anything, you've got to leave the drive-thru, you know? It's like not very good mental health treatment at Hungry Jack's, but the burgers are better, you know? I'll tell you that, man. It's a crazy time. There was the United Healthcare CEO that got shot. I'm sure everyone's heard about this ad nauseum last year, you know what I mean? Luigi shot him, you know? Good to see one of the other Mario brothers getting under something, you know? Always living in his shadow. The thing I find most interesting about that is that the guy was caught at a Macca's. Like, this is an international fugitive the whole world was talking about. And he was caught by the same people that are fucking up my McChicken order. And I just think, like, if you're at Macca's, like, don't you have other, like, internet, like, huge crime to worry about? Like, I used to sell drugs. And I sold so much more drugs in the Macca's car park than anywhere else, you know what I mean? And also, like, if you're worried about, like, and also get the ice cream machine working, you know? Like, why are you catching fugitives for? And if you're going to catch a fugitive, what about the Hamburglar? This guy's been getting away with it for years, you know what I mean? Also, like, I had a friend telling me a conspiracy about Macca's the other day. He was saying, like, does anyone, like, no one knows what the fuck Grimace is. Like, I don't know what fucking species Grimace is. I don't know what gender he is. He's just ever present. He's just there, you know what I mean? And a friend of mine was telling me a conspiracy about this. He was saying that after Luigi shot that healthcare CEO, there was all this weird stuff that was happening. He was saying it's to do with Project Bluebeam, man. So what that is after Luigi shot that healthcare CEO, there was all these UFOs and drones that appeared, you know, in the skies over America. And he told me that Project Bluebeam is what the government does when they test a response to something insane to see how the public will react. And then they reveal that there actually is, like, aliens for real. And we're just like, it's kind of boring. I'm moving on to the next thing, you know? And he told me that. He said that the same thing, I think that's what's happening with Grimace, you know what I mean? Like, we first found out about Grimace when we were kids, and we're like, I don't fully fucking get that, but, like, that's cool. And we just sort of accepted it, you know what I mean? Then they brought out the Grimace Shake. And if you've talked to anyone that's had the Grimace Shake, they don't know what the fuck's in that thing, you know? So I think that's what's going on, you know. But my friend was telling me this conspiracy, and I was just like, yeah, 100%. That's crazy, you know. It's true. It's a crazy time right now. A lot's going on in society. I mean, especially over the holiday season. You know, it's the New Year's, it's Christmas and stuff. A lot of people are lonely. You know, they want to connect with people. They want to date. I'm on the dating apps. I messaged a girl on Hinge recently. I was like, hey baby, how have you heard about Grimace? She hit me back with an out of office reply. She said, thanks so much for your interest, but I'm actually out of office. I'll get back to you in January. Yeah, that's the response that deserved. It's the same thing that happened to me, you know, it's true. Man, the relationships can be weird. Like, I had a girlfriend once that she asked me, like, Paul, would you still love me if I was a worm? And that's like a hard question to answer. Because, like, I've met a lot of worms in my life, you know. Like, I met a worm that I got along with quite well in my parents' garden when I was 9 years old, you know. I was hanging out in the dirt. I got along with him so well that I got anal worms afterwards, you know what I mean? It's true! A lot of people have anal worms and stuff like that. My girlfriend was asking if I'd go to first base with her. I'd already had anal sex with this other worm. You know what I mean? And yeah, but I found out the whole thing was kind of bullshit, because later on she was saying to me about the cat. She started talking to me about the cat. We always go talk about the cat. We got to take the cat to the vet. I was like, why do we need to take the cat to the vet? And she was like, well, I think he's got heartworm. Was that not the whole point, is to let a worm into our heart? You know, I wouldn't have, if I had known that, I wouldn't have had anal sex with the cat, you know? No, that's not true. It didn't. It was 69. It was something different, yeah. But no, he was a good cat. I loved him. But I think communication is kind of hard these days, you know, especially like with digital and social media. Everything's getting a little bit strange, you know. I think it's kind of nice when we get back to basics, and that's why I really like a lot of inbred people. I was spending a lot of time on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is sick because it's reduced our communication back to ancient Roman times. Like, we're just communicating with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And it's kind of like being in modern Rome, because everyone you meet up with smells a lot of cologne. Like, I think like both Facebook Marketplace and Uber have done more to market David Beckham's cologne than David Beckham has, you know what I mean? But I find the older men on Facebook Marketplace really interesting. Like, I remember, like, my dad uses Marketplace a lot, and I was messaging him once, and a few years ago my dad got diagnosed with cancer. Now he's okay now, but there was a while where it was quite dicey. And I remember I messaged him and I was like, hey Dad, how'd the blood test go? Sorry, me and Mum couldn't be there. I just want you to know that no matter what happens, me and Mum are here for you and we love you. And he sent me back a thumbs up emoji. I was like, so are we chilling, or do I need to call the funeral home, or, you know what I mean? But it's crazy times right now. Like this, you know, the Luigi thing showed that it's not left and right, you know, it's kind of like lower class versus upper class. I think it's actually young and old. That's what's going on in society right now. Like, that's why they had the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight a few months ago. Really figure that out, you know. That was the worst case of elder abuse I'd seen since my Year 9 science teacher got dacked in front of the whole class, you know. But he was into it. He was Catholic, you know what I mean? It's the best day of Alan Jones's life as a teacher, you know. But no, the Mike Tyson fight messed me up. It was kind of crazy. Like, it's exactly as I thought it would be. You know, this like 50-year-old professional boxer, he got beat up by this influencer in his 20s, if you don't know. And like, it still made me feel so sad. So I did what any Australian male does when they're confronted with thoughts, feelings, and experiences that they don't know what to do with does. I went to Bunnings. There's a lot of lost souls in Bunnings, dude. There's a lot of people, especially this time of year, just walking the aisles, man, trying to find things to fix around the house to avoid fixing the real problems in their life. They'll just be like, yeah, we should definitely get some topsoil for the lawn, and their wife is like, I think we should go to marriage counselling. And they're like, you're right, we should get some fairy lights as well. That would be dope. But man, I saw this guy in Bunnings after the Mike Tyson fight, and he clearly hadn't heard the result of the fight. And I could tell that because it was the day of the fight, and he was talking to his daughter, and he was saying, I think Mike Tyson's going to fucking knock out Jake Paul. And it's going to teach your young, woke, bullshit generation that you can't count the old people out. Just like your mother thinks that I can't fix the fucking hinge that I've come here to buy the supplies for, Mike Tyson's going to knock out Jake Paul. And I was like, fuck. Someone needs to tell this dude, you know? It's kind of like that men over 40 version of finding out that Santa Claus isn't real. So I was like, it's not my job to tell him, you know? And I had my own things to do, you know? I had to walk the aisles myself, you know? I was walking the aisles, like, I don't even live in a house. Like, I live in an apartment. If you live in an apartment and you're at Bunnings, your life is fucked. Like, I spent $180 on plants at Bunnings after the Mike Tyson fight because I just wanted to feel the touch of another living being, you know? It was a pretty weird time. No, I was walking around, and then later on I saw that guy, and he must have found out the results of the Mike Tyson fight. Not because of anything he was saying, but he was burying his feelings under about $400 of topsoil, you know? And like, don't get me wrong, I've been known to bury my feelings under bags as well, but with the price of cocaine these days, like, you just can't do it, you know? But man, he'd obviously, the daughter is just like, what the fuck, we don't need all this stuff, Dad, like, what are you talking about? And he's like, this is the problem with your generation, you don't get this. She's like, okay, yeah, no worries about it, yeah. They get to the register in front of me, and this guy's obviously come to Bunnings for therapy before, because the therapist at the checkout with the apron on, she was just like, Gary, I've already told you, like, you've tried to fix your lawn so many times, fix the hinge, it's not going to work, you're wasting your time and your money. Why don't you just hire someone else who's younger to do it for you? Ooh. And that set him off. He was like, that's the problem with your woke bullshit generation. You think I'd fucking come to this business if I didn't know how to fix my own fucking lawn and buy this shit to fix a hinge? That's the problem with all this woke bullshit. You people are a bunch of gay cunts. And she was like, 100%, that's crazy. She had to find a way to sort of like pad the time out and sort of like keep the conversation casual if she was scanning things. So she was like, did you see the Mike Tyson fight this week? Thanks so much, everybody. I've been Paul Maland. Welcome back to our host, Ed Bennett.